This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Nacogdoches Chamber Stakeholders Conference Call. I want to remind you that this conference will be recorded today and that it'll be posted on the Chamber's website on the YouTube section later today. Uh, in addition to that, I want to remind you that members of the media have also been invited to participate as well. So we welcome our friends from the media that have elected to join us today. And uh, I would respectfully ask that we all put our computers on mute until we get to the questions and answers section, and we'll go from there. I'm pleased to welcome our featured presenter this morning, Megan Mauro. Megan is Senior Vice President of Advocacy and Policy at the Texas Association of Business, and I've had the pleasure of participating in several of uh, the issue meetings that she has hosted for TAB. They are unbelievable partners for us in the chamber world in a number of different ways, not just the work that they do at the Texas Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives, but in terms of their role of advocacy on behalf of our businesses and our region. So we're really pleased. Prior to joining TAB, Megan was associate at Texas Star Alliance, a contract lobby firm that covered several public policy issues, including education, healthcare, elections, licensing, regulations, local government, and appropriations. She has over 8 years of experience in Texas in politics, working with several Fortune 500 companies, city governments, and chambers of commerce. So we are really, truly delighted to have you with us. Megan lives in Austin, Texas, with her husband Kyle and a Great Dane named Barnaby. So there you go. We know everything there is to know about you, Megan, and welcome aboard. And the microphone is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, really appreciate you inviting TAB to be here today, the Texas Association of Business. And I just want to thank the Nacogdoches Chamber, Mr. Mitchell, Kelly Augustine, all are great partners, and we are appreciative of you including us in your events and partnering and being great members of TAB and TCCE. So our chamber partners are our most important members. Texas is a huge state, and so being able to work with everybody to help advocate for important business issues in Austin is really our job. So here at TAB, our purpose really is to champion the best business climate in the world, unleashing the power of free enterprise to enhance lives for generations. And that's our core purpose that we recently developed as we kind of looked at our next 100 years. We're approaching our 100-year centennial anniversary, and as we all know, Texas is the ninth largest economy in the world and a great place to do business. And our goal is really to advocate to protect that business climate and help educate lawmakers on what we're seeing on the local level from our businesses here in Texas. So this is perfect timing. As you all know, we're approaching a legislative session. I think yesterday was the last day of was a year anniversary of the last day of the third special session, which is depressing because we only had a year between going through all of that lawmaking process, and here we are 3 weeks out from bill filing. And so we've gone through our policy committee process to identify our key priorities, and that is what I will share with you today, as well as kind of what we're seeing and our viewpoint of what the next legislative session might look like. And we all know we really can't predict anything, but hey, we have some facts on the ground now that we can look towards while we try to develop our planning for the next session. So first and foremost, economic development is a key priority. We are all aware that a Chapter 313 agreement is set to expire at the end of this year. And a top issue for TAB will be advocating for a replacement program to replace this incentive to help keep Texas competitive and keep businesses wanting to choose Texas and being able to choose Texas, whether it's moving here, continuing to develop here, expanding here. And our economic toolbox, the tools in that toolbox are critically important. So we are working with a coalition, Jobs for Texas, to help reinstate a modernized version of this economic development program. And so that will be a top priority for TAB. We'll be working with all of our local chambers and our business members on making sure that this policy is best for Texas. So currently kind of working on that. It's could be a complicated, policy. The former policy that expired was around for 20 years. So there's always improvements to be made, and that means conversations with all the stakeholders, coming up with recommendations. And at the end of the day, we all know the legislature creates the policy. And so we'll get a better idea of what that looks like once bills start being filed and the legislative session begins. Along those lines, we have some federal funding that was allocated, and Texas is eligible for billions of dollars through those funding, and that's really through transportation and infrastructure. And so our job is also to convene and bring the voices of our local communities and the businesses there to the decision makers who are allocating those funds. And so while that's not really a legislative issue at this point, it could be, but it is something we're watching closely and involved in and is important for economic development. Excuse me. And then, of course, I think as we look towards the next legislative session, workforce development and education will be a top issue. We have, of course, education starts with K through 12. And so we have a handful of priorities that we'd like to see just to make sure that students are either college ready, career ready, and really working together and bringing employers and educators together to help fit the needs of our workforce here in Texas. Historically, we've been pretty good at that. And so business changes all of the time, education changes all of the time. And so we want to make sure that employers are at the table with education, with educators and lawmakers, and making sure that we're providing the best education to create the workforce that we need here in Texas. And so those will be big issues. And we can dive into some of the workforce issues a little bit later on, but one that really has has been a topic of conversation in many of our committees is computer science education training in the K through 12 level. And this is really not only for tech industry jobs, but for any job. Those skills are needed across the board, and so that will be a priority as well for us. Of course, energy, we're the energy capital here in Texas, and TAB supports an all of the above energy approach. So we're number one in a few things, oil and gas, as we know, wind, probably solar soon, and we just want to have grid reliability and continue to be a leader in that space. It's very important. So of course, energy is always an issue. It'll remain an issue, and TAB will be working on a handful of priorities that support an all of the above energy strategy. And so healthcare is also going to be an issue that we will be paying close attention to and active in. 47% of healthcare coverage is provided by employers. And so really our main goal there is to advocate for policies that don't increase that healthcare cost for employers. And so really that would be, making sure that there are no new mandates, extra red tape, regulations that that increase the cost of healthcare, therefore will increase the cost for employers. TAB actually recently conducted a survey we shared with our chambers and also our own members. So it was a survey for employers, and it was on the benefit of healthcare as well as the cost. And it's just a number one benefit to offer for employees. And so we want to make sure it continues to be affordable and that there continues to be choices for businesses to make that best fit their need for that business and their employers. And so we also have here at TAB, we have a coalition called Tech Means Business. And this coalition really is a broad business, is a group of broad business members, really because kind of how I was alluding to with the computer science comment, every business is a tech business. And so whether it's economic incentives for advanced manufacturing or the appropriate training to make sure we have the workforce that's equipped to enter into these jobs that are available in Texas, whether it be tech or even really working with a state agency who has picked up advanced innovative technologies and making sure that we have the skills, that our workforce is skilled to be able to take advantage of those great jobs that keep moving to Texas. And so that coalition will be addressing that. And then, of course, something that we'll be paying attention to is any data privacy legislation, because that does impact every business. And we just really want to be able to be aligned and have a seat at the table to make sure that, that any standards that businesses are able to comply with any standards that are coming out of legislation. And as we all know, that stuff in that community, I learn something new every day because this high-tech world doesn't stop. So it's important to be educators in that space at the Capitol and among each other with other businesses, because everyone kind of has different technology. And so just to have that aligned effort is very important. And so a couple of other things. I know last session we were very involved in trucking litigation abuse, and helping protect businesses, small, medium, and large, from being sued for any kind of trucking or even any company vehicle accident. And so that will be, that bill passed last session, but that's still a priority for us and will be on our radar in case, there are further actions we can take with the legislature and really protecting businesses from any frivolous lawsuits that are unwarranted just because you have a company logo on your vehicle. And then, of course, infrastructure and transportation, so important for so many reasons. And so really, TB supports policies that improve infrastructure and any transportation infrastructure as well. And so back to those federal funds that are available, just another reason why it's important to be conveners and help the voice of business have a presence in those conversations so we can make sure that businesses can operate here, whether it be roads, bridges, ports. Those are all important to Texas and to Texas business. And so a couple of other things, really like basic employer relations laws are something that TUB is super involved in. It's important for small, medium, and large businesses across every industry sector, but we truly believe that businesses should be able to dictate their own hiring and operating practices. And so that is something that TUB has always been involved in, paying close attention to, and will continue. And so that's our role as well, to be staying on top of those things and working with our chambers as well. And then we also have Criminal Justice Policy Committee, and this is really focused on people that are re-entering the workforce and making sure that they have the things that they need to enter the workforce if they like to. And so that it's a workforce issue. So something aside from policy that we work on is second chance hiring, and that's really helping businesses who want to participate in helping people that are re-entering work for them, and implementing practices that work and providing the services that might be help with the success of those programs. But as we're in a tight labor market, really workforce, anything we can do to make sure people are skilled, upskilled, and have the tools that they need to be able to work is very important. And I think really that kind of covers our top priorities, but I just can't emphasize enough on the economic development side and with these economic incentives to help relieve the tax burdens for businesses that are moving here will just be a huge issue And with that, I would like to open it up for questions and hear from you guys as well. So would love to open the floor.
Well, first of all, Megan, thank you for that overview. It's an ambitious agenda, and I realize in a short period of time that the legislature's in session, it must be an enormous challenge to influence the process. And we're thankful we've got TAB there. I'll lead off the questions, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I guess I'm going to anyway. Megan, you've been there long enough to get a sense of the strengths of representation. And my question is this: when you consider the representation and public policy influence that metro areas of Texas has in the legislative process and the same influence in the rural areas, what's your sense of who's winning the battle?
That the rural representation in Texas means so much. I wouldn't say that anybody's winning a battle. I do think there is. I hope that maybe I shouldn't call myself out. I think there is, different perspectives from urban areas and rural areas, but most of Texas is kind of these rural areas, and so I think that there's, depending on what battles you're talking about on the policy side, but at the end of the day, everyone is represented very well at the Capitol, and that's really, that's why it's important for TAB also to convene, all of our chambers and make sure that, we're communicating with everybody as well to relay those messages that we're hearing from all over the state. Because I know that some resources, with different larger urban areas can be louder, but I think everybody is very well represented.
And just a general comment, it's interesting in your list of key legislative priorities for this year, for 2023, many of those priorities are the same that this chamber, I suspect, will have as well. We will mirror each other. The only difference is that we have, those of us on the local level have specific needs that need to be addressed as it relates to transportation, infrastructure, education requirements, and things like that. So it's going to be an interesting legislative session, I believe. So other questions of Megan while we've got her on the phone?
Yeah, and I did also want to mention, we had huge success last session with broadband, but that's still being implemented. So that's also something that's a top priority for TAB. And so implementing that program and the funds coming in as well. So we'll be paying close attention to that as well. Shouldn't have left that out.
Other questions for Megan? Not all at once. Stay controlled here, folks. If not, Megan, I want to thank you for joining us. You're welcome to stay on the call and hear from our reports from our community partners. And we really are pleased to have you and on the staff there representing us. And we're delighted that to be a member of TAB and have you working on our behalf.
Well, absolutely. We appreciate you guys so much. And I am going to jump off. We have another event at another chamber, but TAB is all over the state today. Our CEO is in Brownsville. Drew Sheberly and I are headed up to Round Rock, and just appreciate this opportunity and love working with you guys, and just you do an outstanding job, you and your team, on running this chamber. So kudos to y'all, and any time that we can help amplify your message here in Austin or partner on anything, we'll be happy to. And like you said, a lot of our issues will be aligned. So appreciate you all.
Well, we appreciate you as well. You do have a legislative conference coming up on your issues, right?
We do, December 9th here in Austin. Yes, everybody is invited. I'll share that information with you.
That'd be great, and we'll promote it in our communications as well. Again, thank you, Megan.
Thank you, and appreciate that. Goodbye, everybody.
We'll continue our reports. We're pleased to have with us our city manager, Mauro Canizares, to give us an update. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Wayne. Good morning. Good morning, callers. Great program today, Wayne. Appreciate you bringing that to light. So a lot of good stuff happening. just wanted to kind of give the group a couple of updates of what's been going on the last few days. Last Wednesday, we had 3 panels along with about 20 or so, not just employees, but employees and a couple of members of the community. We were doing our hiring process for our chief of police. And so we had 2 internal candidates. One was Scott Weems, the other one was Dan Taravella, both assistant chiefs. Scott's been serving as interim police chief for a number of months. And through a pretty thorough process, almost all day, the decision was made to go with Scott Weems as our police chief. And so made that decision on Friday. And so it was made public, I guess theoretically yesterday with the press release. And so real excited about having Scott on board as our permanent police chief. Both Scott and Dan will work well together, very well together, and have been working well together as a team. Scott's been with the department for 28 years and risen through the ranks. So real excited about having Scott on board as our chief. And so actually on the 1st of November, November 1st, our regular council meeting, the council will take action to formally appoint him as part of our charter with a little extra step that's required. And so we'll make that appointment official on November 1st. So look forward to that. Other news, we've got no council meeting tonight, but we do have a special called meeting, a workshop this coming Thursday, the 27th at 5:30 here at City Hall. And the premise of that is to continue the ongoing discussions on our capital improvement plan. What we've got slated for council really this coming Thursday is really more of a discussion. We're not asking for any action or asking for really any direction. We're just kind of laying out a conversation with them to see where they want to go with the overall capital improvement plan. There is, I believe staff is going to convey that there's probably a need to do some debt issuance, a future bond program. And so really what we're trying to understand from council is, A, do you want to do one? And if so, when? And which date, either May of next year or November of next year. And then beyond that, how do we want to go through the process of this bond program? And so really just kind of laying it out from a conversational perspective. We'll also be bringing forward as part of that meeting to discuss some issues or maintenance items that weren't funded because of the certificates of obligation. Since those were stopped with that petition, there are some unfunded needs that need to be addressed. And so we want to at least identify those to council and give them just the information. And so what we'll do is, again, mostly information on this coming Thursday. And then we've got another meeting scheduled on November the 10th with the council again. And that's really where we're wanting to get direction from them. So today or this coming week is just to provide them information, allow them to just kind of take it all in, let them mull it over for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll bring another discussion with them on the 10th to get their direction and try to get us moving into that, whatever direction they want us to move forward to. So just wanted to share that with the group and be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the city manager? Well, if not, I do want to respectfully urge all of you folks that have an interest in the infrastructure discussion on Thursday night to attend that. We sent out a notice to my board of directors and my government affairs committee yesterday, highlighting that meeting. Mario and I, anything we can do to help you folks through this process, we're ready.
Appreciate it. Wayne, one thing I forgot to mention, I appreciate your comments and your support. One thing I forgot to mention, last week when we had council, we've been having since I started, we've been having a conversation on a completely separate topic related to the Central Heights water system. And so last week we presented an item to City Council, a resolution support for staff to continue the ongoing negotiations of potentially transferring the Central Heights water system to ANRA, which stands for the Angelina Natchez River Authority. They are a state agency, and they are appointed. The members of ANRA are appointed by the governor of Texas, and so they do this for a living. That's part of their charge, is to take on water systems and invest in them and operate them. And so we are looking at that very an arrangement of sorts with them to take on that system. They have committed to make some capital improvements to Central Heights that are badly needed. And so they are looking at doing that. And so last Tuesday was the public process to at least get us started officially as a staff to work towards that transfer. And we'll be working with Central Heights ISD to have a meeting with their school board in November. And then we'll also follow up with a public meeting in November, I believe at Central Heights High School, for people in the Central Heights community, so they can at least understand what's going on within the discussion, and they can also get introduced to ANRA. So just wanted to pass that on, and as we get more information, we'll certainly be willing to share and happy to share this information with you Wayne, and certainly these callers at future stakeholder meetings.
Well, thank you, Mary. That's great. And it'll be interesting to see how that discussion goes with the folks in Central Heights and with the cooperative. That's great. So, any other questions of the city manager? Well, thank you, Mary. I appreciate that very much. I don't see anybody from the university online, do I? I don't think so. But I do see the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches Economic Development Corporation, Larissa Philpott. Larissa, congratulations on a wonderful annual meeting last week.
Oh, thank you, Wayne. Thank you for being there. I think there's lots of folks on the call today that were there. We were super excited to be able to showcase what NEDCO does through our partners. You know, we are a very small organization by our nature, by the way we are set up. And so we count on partners in the community like SFA and the Temple Foundation to help us achieve what our community needs. And along those lines, I just wanted to remind everyone that we do have a job fair on November 3rd at the CL Simon Recreation Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is called the Red, White, and You Job Fair because there's a special hour from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. that is open only to veterans and their family members only. Mary Frances Bradford has been hard at work getting this organized, and she, I believe, has said that we are full up with employers. So we are hoping for a really good turnout. We are hearing from our local employers that, you know, we do still have a lot of jobs open in the community, which is a sign of economic strength, but at the same time, we've got to get folks connected to those jobs. So please spread the word about that job fair. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you. Any questions, Larissa? If not, again, thank you, Larissa. And we'll move on right now. I believe we have, let's see, is Aaron, are you going to do the update for the NASD?
Hi, yes, I am.
Thank you.
Thank you. School's trucking along. We've got a couple more weeks and then it's going to be our Thanksgiving break. Things are flowing smoothly, save for the fact that there is still a bus driver shortage, in case you haven't heard. So if you know people looking for employment, we're looking for bus drivers. Hoping that Les is back soon. He's been out just a short bit, and I'll take any questions if anybody has any regarding school district.
Any questions of Aaron? Aaron, what are the general qualifications for a bus driver? I've heard conflicting requirements.
That's a good question. Yeah, beyond having the commercial, the CDL for school bus drivers, there's also some additional certifications, and I don't know their technical terms, but one of them has to do with knowing how to fix a few things. So you have to have some knowledge of what's going on under the hood of that school bus. So interesting stuff. We're learning things we didn't know about school transportation.
And that significantly reduces the prospect for potential drivers. I can understand why you have a shortage. I mean, look, I know what a steering wheel is, but that's about the extent of my knowledge about mechanics.
Right. There's also a timed feature of that particular certification. So it's not just knowledge, it is your capabilities under a certain time frame to be able to fix certain things.
Well, we wish you well with that challenge. I can understand. I see the sign out in front of the high school soliciting drivers, and I didn't realize you needed a commercial license in order to drive one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any other questions of Aaron? Well, I
I'd
am
like to report while you've got me on the line that we had our very first Chamber Education Committee's Youth Advisory Committee that met, Youth Advisory Council, and we had 35 high school students representing every district in the county, plus a couple of students from Mount Enterprise. And they met in council chambers with Mayor Jimmy Mize and Mario Canizares with the city, and it was amazing. The students had a great time. They shared tons of thoughts. I have a long list to type up and submit to the city so that they can refer back to all the ideas the students had. And they asked some great questions about economic development and general business questions about downtown and the city in general. And it was a great time, and I thank Mario and Jimmy for making that happen and the chamber for helping us put this together.
Well, that's great. It's always good. I suspect we'll get some new city managers out of that process, right? Some people are going to pursue that career because of Mario's presentation. Well, that's great. Well, thank you, Aaron. Anything else, Aaron, on your end? I do want to welcome this morning the director of Visit Nacogdoches. Want to congratulate the Convention Visitors Bureau. My understanding is they recently were honored as one of the top CVBs in the state of Texas, and that's no surprise to any of us. Sherry Cheney Morgan, good morning.
Good morning, Wayne, and thank you for that. Yes, at the annual conference back in August for the Texas Association of Convention and Visitor Bureaus, we did come in second place for CVB of the year for CVBs operating with budgets under $1 million. So we're very proud of that, and it's especially meaningful because it's voted on by our industry peers. And so, yeah, we're really proud of that. We're going to be doing a press release. We have a big banner on the front building, and it really was just the boost that we needed to start off this new fiscal year. Our fiscal year begins October the 1st, and we change our priorities, and we always stick to our main mission and purpose, which is to make Nacogdoches an ideal vacation destination. But within that, we all know the many facets of Nacogdoches, so we choose certain things to focus on for that year to come. And this year's focus is going to be on wellness. As many of you know, we have so many, not only natural great wellness assets like our lakes, our creeks, our trails, and even around us, we have Lake Sam Rayburn and Caddo Lake, and just a lot of history and a lot of great ways to sort of disconnect from our busy day-to-day lives and reconnect with nature and with ourselves. So we're going to be focusing on wellness, highlighting things like morning glory yoga. Our idea is to do a wellness walk along Main Street. So while you're waiting to cross the street, there'll be little signs that take you through a stretch or some kind of directive to get the most burn for your buck there as you're waiting. And we're going to be doing, before we've done wine, whiskey, and brew tours, which are fun, and those are always a favorite, but we're going to do some wellness weekends where people buy tickets off of our website and come in small groups, and we can schedule some time at Hooligan Wellness and a Stretch ER and with Amy Sanford at Morning Glory Yoga, and just really do some small group wellness so that we can expose that facet of Nacogdoches to new people. And we are blessed to have that in abundance. So we're going to share that. And we're also going to focus on the culture of Nacogdoches. So, 9 flags have flown over Nacogdoches. We're going to do a deeper dive into the importance of those, sort of how it's affected the culture today of what we see. and the way our city has evolved in downtown planning, um, that sort of thing, and then also the foods and the different demographics of people that have passed through here and left their mark. So we're really super excited about that. This last weekend, Joanna Temple, yet again, and Barbara Hall lent us her skills at the front gates. We had what will be the last of the full moon concerts. Friday and Saturday, we had 90s tribute bands in. Friday was probably our least attended full moon concert over the breadth of that campaign of full moon. And but still, it was probably about 300-400 people in attendance, and they had a great time. And then Saturday, we returned again with more bands, and that was a large crowd. We're still tallying up the final numbers, and we were just happy to end on that note. Our goal in doing these concerts, not one of them made a profit, but we proved that with energy and effort and an investment, Festival Park is a viable music destination. I mean, it's a great venue for that. And Angela Wiederhold and Scott Waller can attest to that with bluegrass that we have every summer. But we are leaving that now for other groups that maybe have more money to dedicate to things like that, programming of that nature. And we've sort of established the model. Any future concerts that we do will be in partnership with the Civic Center or with SFA, and we'll focus on more indoor activities. But I do want to remind y'all, this past summer we did switch website providers, and in that we gained ticketing function. So I encourage you all, if you are having events that you would like to be ticketed, and we set all of the parameters on that. So your tickets could be free, but if you're looking for that head count, and for people to be able to print out or have on their cell phone a ticket that can be scanned, we will send you can come in and you can borrow the equipment to have that. We would collect the money for you and cut you a check afterwards. It operates very similarly in structure to Eventbrite, but here any service fee stays here in Nacogdoches, and it helps fund the CVB. So there's a learning curve on it for us, but we're super excited at the possibility of being able to offer that service to all of our great partner agencies and groups in Nacogdoches that put on such great events. So remember that is always an option for you guys, and we're happy to share those assets that we invest our portion of hotel occupancy tax into. Coming up on the block, let's see, in November, we've got a Veterans Day parade. There's Turkey Trot by United Way, and I'm sure they'll talk about it more in their report. And then Main Street will step in with all of the Christmas activities, and culminating with the United Way Christmas parade. So we're into the fun time of the year. Our visitor traffic remains just extraordinarily high. It's the highest that I've seen in my 5 years here now. So things are going well in the visitors world. And I want to thank you all in everything you do in ways big and small to help make Nacogdoches a great place to visit.
Thank you, Sherry. Any questions of Sherry? Well, again, this town is not a sleepy little town with all the events going on. We should pat ourselves on the back with all of these wonderful events going on. And thank you, Sherry, for all. The only question I have, Sherry, is I've noticed that one of our larger hotels on the right-hand side as you head to Lufkin has been cordoned off with chain link fences. Are we anticipating a major renovation there or transition?
To my knowledge, they are closed for business, and sort of reevaluating what the future is going to look like for them. Across the street, Holiday Inn Express has lost their flag, their brand flag. So they're making some adjustments there to see if they can regain that so that they can continue to market under Holiday Inn. And there is movement and plans, but no actions have taken place yet on that last little sliver of land before you go under the loop. You'll notice a sign there that says coming soon, Home 2 Suites, which is a Hilton property. And so yet to see if that's coming into fruition, but they spent the money to put a sign up. So I think that's the intention, and I'll be sure to keep you all posted as that sort of evolves into whatever it's going to be.
Thank you, Sherry. Any other questions of Sherry? Thank you, Sherry, very much. Like a thorough report. I'm pleased to welcome Caroline Garner from United Way. I know they've got some things going on.
We have just a few things going on, and thank you, Sherry, for the shout out about our turkey trot and parade. I'll just get right into that. But first, just a little funny, when Sherry said Home 2 Suites, I thought, oh, good, a new candy store. So that's my sweet tooth. But anyway, the trot, speaking of sweets and treats, on Thanksgiving, you know you're going to be eating big, so why not get out and run early and burn some of those calories before you eat, and then you have your metabolism up, and I'm sure they're just going to pass right on through then. But we have our annual turkey trot. This is our 13th annual turkey trot. This was an event founded for United Way by Pilgrims long ago. They continue to be our headline sponsor. We have the classic 5K stepping off at 8:30, and it's very family friendly. In fact, we have families that come from out of town and do this year after year. They just count on that as part of their holiday tradition. We also have the Kids K that we started on our 10th turkey trot. So this is, I guess, our 4th year of doing the Kids K, sponsored by JC's. That is free to any kids through pretty much through elementary school age. They can come out and do a 1K loop around Pecan Park. And we will have a turkey, an actual pretend turkey, life-size person turkey. One of our volunteers, Bill Dietrich, puts on the turkey suit and leads the kids around Pecan Park. So it's just so much fun. And some of the parents will come and run along with their kid in the Kids K and then take off on their own 5K. Also, we welcome dogs for this event. There is a prize for first place dog in our 5K. So anyway, it's just a super fun family event. So look into that. There's still time to get yourself trained up for a 5K. It's a month away. You can just come and walk it, walk, run, or come and run. Hope to see you then. And then our parade is coming up shortly thereafter on December 3rd. And our theme this year is Christmas Through the Decades. It's going to be such fun to see the different floats for the Roaring 20s, the Fabulous 50s, etc. And Mari has planned, she's being very logistically specific about this, to line the parade up in chronological order so that you will see from the past to the present, maybe even into the future. We'll just see what kind of entries we get. But that's going to be a lot of fun. And information about both of those events can be found on our website. There's a link to registration forms that are already launched. We also have social media platforms for them. But it's at unitedwaynac.org is our website. That's unitedwaynac.org. So you can get more information about that and about our campaign. And yes, everybody's talking about the upcoming elections. We are not campaigning in that manner. We are campaigning for community support, just like NEDCO, not LEDCO, NEDCO. We also count on partners in the community. We have already set our allocations budget to support 19 local agencies, human services agencies in the area of health, education, financial stability, many of them that you know and love, Love Inc., Senior Center, Solid Foundation, Boys and Girls Club, Family Crisis Center, et cetera, et cetera. We have 19 agencies that we want to support. We have already budgeted to support next year. Now we are fundraising. We have a lot of active campaigns running, which means people making pledges. at their places of work or as individuals to donate to us in 2023 to support those agencies. And if your business or you as an individual are interested, then please don't hesitate to reach out. We also do have information about that on our website. There's a campaign toolkit, there are videos, there are pledge forms, etc. But we are here to help you, or even come talk to your company if you'd like, and explain how United Way works and how we can help make it easy for you to support the community the way you want to in 2023. We are continuing a search for a new CEO. You know, everybody knows Gary Ashcraft is retiring. I call him Gary, but Gary Lee. Gary Lee Ashcraft is retiring at the end of the year. And so we're just moving right along as CEO search, just to have total faith and confidence that's being handled by our executive team, very professional manner. United Way will carry on without Gary Lee Ashcraft at the helm, believe it or not. And he says he's not going anywhere. He's still going to be around to support us and be involved. Today there is an event one of our partner agencies is holding. This is a lunch at the Sheriff's Office hosted by the Family Crisis Center. This is just to talk about, it's an awareness event about domestic violence. So everybody is welcome to attend. It's at the Sheriff's Office because they want to bring their staff in, their people in, to also make them more aware of what to look for with people that come through their doors. But everybody's welcome, and they do serve lunch. That's at noon today at the Nacogdoches County Sheriff's Office. And the only other thing I will mention, this is kind of personal. I was coming out of the chamber board meeting this morning, and there was this kitty cat running out into first eating crumbs off the Schlotsky's lot, then ran out into North Street. I couldn't help but go and at least try to rescue that kitty. That is the most tame little black boy, young teen or kitty. He's at Southside Animal Clinic getting himself taken care of. We won't talk about what they're doing to him. They're terrible things, but no, making him a responsible young man. And so I just want to say this cat gave me kisses all the way from Schlotsky's to Southside Animal Clinic. If anybody needs a cat, this is a black cat. I do not want to release this cat back out on Halloween Eve to have suspicious things done to him. So I just had to do that shout out for this cat. He's a wonder, and he needs a good home.
Well, aren't you kind? And no, he's getting great care at the animal clinic, Caroline, and good for you that you rescued that little feline. That's fantastic. Any questions of Caroline in any way? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I do see we have Cassandra Strokes from the Small Business Development Center on the line. Cassandra, do you have anything you'd like to add before we?
Hey, sure. I'm prepared this time. So the Small Business Development Center, for you guys that aren't familiar with the SBDC, we offer one-on-one advising services, and it's free. It's no cost to entrepreneurs and small business owners. Our support comes in our knowledge of business practices such as prioritizing your goals, business plans, management, financing, marketing, etc. I'll throw into the chat the link if you want some more information on there. Also, I wanted to tell you about a grant that just came available. Angelina College received the Skills for Small Business grant from the Texas Workforce Commission. This funds any employers for their employees that may need training in courses that Angelina College offers. The allocation is $20,000 for tuition and fees for small business employees, and $15,000 specifically for small business childcare, facilities to train their employees. I will also throw a link in the chat for that if you're interested in that grant. And finally, the SBA just released its fiscal year 2023 fee relief notice. It's pretty substantial for this coming fiscal year. It was effective on October 1st. It gives fee relief for 7A loans that can be as much as 100%. And so it's a 7-page notice. I'll also put in the chat the link for that for those who are interested in that as well. And there's some stipulations as far as that relief goes, and same way with the grant, but you can read up on it.
That's great. Any questions? Cassandra, we'll be sure to try to get the message out on those grants. and the other
Yeah.
programs that you shared with us. That's good information. Questions of Cassandra? Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And I suspect Larissa at Netco's is interested in that, is more interested in that than I am. So there you go. So this is great. Any other questions? Any other comments from any of the stakeholders on the call? Well, if not, I'll go through a couple of things. One is that we have an Eggs and Issues Thursday morning at 7:30. The speaker that morning is a young woman named Kelly Hall. She's the president and CEO of the Nacogdoches of the Longview Area Chamber of Commerce. She's been there for decades, and she is extraordinary. She runs a heck of a chamber. They have been partners with other agencies that have resulted in millions and millions of dollars in new investment in Longview area. In addition to that, thousands of jobs. It's going to be interesting to hear her take on the world of chambers and the world of communities, and she's certainly a strong advocate of the public policy process. So please, if you can join us, register today online, and you can go to the chamber website and you'll see Kelly's bio and you'll see how you can register. Kelly Augustine, anything going on in the chamber world? I know we got ribbon cuttings and everything else coming up. Do you want to run through that menu?
Well, good morning, everyone. I actually was just looking at our event calendar online, and as Wayne mentioned, we'll round out October with Eggs and Issues, but looking ahead at November, there's going to be fabulous ribbon cutting celebrating new businesses like McAllister's Deli, and new expansions such as Downtown Business, the Rusty Spur. I know XCTX Business Solutions is celebrating a 20th anniversary in November. So when you look at those ribbon cutting celebrations, you know that our businesses are doing good things. And I'll mention one more, the Alive After 5, that'll be coming up before the next conference call on November 3rd, starting around 5:30 in the afternoon. We will be at the SORAC, that's the Sasquatch Off-Road Adventure Club at Tipton Ford Lincoln, on their test course. So it's going to be a very adventurous Alive After 5. And we thank Neil Slayton and his team for hosting our chamber event.
Fantastic. Any questions of Kelly? Barbara Lot program? And Noble, what have you been doing?
Not about Lot and Noble today. We have a business development seminar scheduled for December 5th, 11:30 to 1:30, and the topic is changing your view to hiring across the generations to find reliable employees. And the Lot crew's going good, and Noble is too.
That seminar is going to be really interesting, folks. I've had the privilege of sitting through the committee discussions on that. They're going to bore into, those of us that are out of town. I think you probably have noticed, like I have, that big stores are hiring people with an average age. It looks like about 70 or 75. It's making me feel real good, by the way. And in discussing this with folks that are managers, they were telling me that the accommodations, first of all, they're delighted with the employees that they're hiring, but they do have to have special consideration for breaks and doctor's visits and grandchildren visits and things like that. But they're really making adjustments in order to keep these folks in the workforce. And so it's going to be a really, I think, interesting discussion, and I'm looking forward to it. And of course, we do this in partnership with our friends from NEDCO and Mary Frances and Larissa. We really appreciate that partnership. So we're going to promote the heck out of it. And I'm betting that that December program is going to be well attended. It's going to be a great event. So great job. Thank you very much, Barbara Kelly. Appreciate that. Any other questions, comments to the good of the order? If not, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. I want to thank Megan again from the Texas Association of Business joining us and representing our interests so well. And I want to thank all of you folks for being a part of the call. And with that, we'll stop the recording and end the call. Thank you very much, folks.